So somebody sent me a New York Times article that and thought it might make a good BBC. So it's by somebody named Oliver Sacks, and yeah, he's a professor of neurology at the New York University School of Medicine and is the author of several books. Okay? So I didn't know who he was before, but anyway. So he says, it's called My Own Life, okay? And he says, a month ago I felt that I was in good health, even robust health. At 81 I still swim a mile a day, but my luck has run out. A few weeks ago I learned that I have multiple metastases in the liver. 9 years ago, it was discovered that I had a rare tumor of the eye, an ocular melanoma. Although the radiation and lasering to remove the tumor ultimately left me blind in that eye, only in very rare cases do such tumors metastasize. I am among the unlucky 2%. I feel grateful that I have been granted 9 years of good health and productivity since the original diagnosis, but now I am face to face with dying. The cancer occupies a third of my liver, and although its advance may be slowed, this particular sort of cancer cannot be halted. It is up to me now to choose how to live out the months that remain to me. Okay, so this is why I'm reading this article. I have to live in the richest, deepest, most productive way I can. In this, I am encouraged by the words of one of my favorite philosophers, David Hume, who, upon learning that he was mortally ill at 65, wrote a short biography in a single day in April of 1776. He titled it My Own Life. And this is a quote from Hume. I now reckon upon a speedy dissolution, he wrote. I have suffered very little pain from my disorder, and what is more strange, have notwithstanding the great decline of my person, never suffered a moment's abatement of my spirits. I possess the same ardor as ever in study and the same gaiety in company. Okay, so he's saying he has a terminal diagnosis, and he didn't just get all depressed about it, you know, and waste his time being depressed, which is quite an achievement, right? You know, because, I mean, that's what most people do. It's like, oh, I'm going to die, get depressed, waste the rest of your life being depressed. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Yeah, and yet that's what people often do when they have this kind of news. Okay, so Sacks continues, I have been lucky enough to live past 80, and the 15 years allotted to me beyond Hume's 65 have been equally rich in work and love. In that time, I have published 5 books and completed an autobiography, rather longer than Hume's few pages, to be published this spring. I have several other books nearly finished. Hume continued, I am a mind of mild disposition, of command of temper, of an open, social, and cheerful humor, capable of attachment, but little susceptible of enmity, and of great moderation in all my passions. And Sacks says, here I depart from Hume. While I have enjoyed loving relationships and friendships and have no real enmities, I cannot say, nor would anybody who knows me say, that I am a man of mild dispositions. On the contrary, I am a man of vehement disposition, with violent enthusiasms and extreme immoderation in all my passions. And yet, one line from Hume's essay strikes me as especially true. It is difficult, he wrote, to be more detached from life than I am at present. Okay, so here he's going to describe what he understands this to mean. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but he says, over the last few days, I have been able to see my life as from a great altitude, as a sort of landscape, and with a deepening sense of the connection of all its parts. This does not mean I am finished with life. On the contrary, I feel intensely alive, and I want and hope in the time that remains to deepen my friendships, to say farewell to those I love, to write more, to travel if I have the strength, to achieve new levels of understanding and insight. Okay, so that makes me think like, okay, from a Dharma perspective, which of those things would be important to me, and which would not be important to me? Okay, I would still want to feel intensely alive. Okay. I want and hope in the time that remains to deepen my friendships. I wouldn't put much emphasis on. I think they would deepen by themselves if they're going to deepen, but I wouldn't put energy into that. To say farewell to those I love. Yeah, maybe. To some extent, but again, put an end to that, otherwise you're going to be answering emails even in the bardo.
We're on a vacation reply.
Yeah, you really have to put, this time I'm really not answering the emails, folks. Okay, to write more? Okay, well, for me, to travel if I have the strength. To achieve new levels of understanding and insight. Yes. Okay. This will involve audacity, clarity, and plain speaking, trying to straighten my accounts with the world. That's good. But there will be time, too, for some fun and even some silliness as well. Okay, I admit to that one, too. I feel a sudden clear focus and perspective. There is no time for anything inessential. I must focus on myself, my work, and my friends. What do you think about that one? Focus on myself only in terms of purifying my mind, practicing transforming my mind. Yeah, cleaning things up so I can die without hanging on to anything. My work is long gone, okay? And my friends, no more attachment, thank you. It's going to be hard enough. I shall no longer look at NewsHour every night. I shall no longer pay any attention to politics or arguments about global warming. This is not indifference, but detachment. Okay? I still care deeply about the Middle East, about global warming, about growing inequality, and these are no longer my business. They belong to the future. I rejoice when I meet gifted young people, even the ones who biopsied and diagnosed my metastases. I feel the future is in good hands. So that's kind of nice. I mean, it's like saying, I still care about the world, I care about sentient beings, but that's not what I'm going to put the little energy I have remaining into, because I'm not going to be able to make a big imprint on that. Leave that to it is a matter for the future, the future generations. I mean, when you're actively dying. When you're not actively dying, then we still have some responsibility. I have been increasingly conscious for the last 10 years or so of deaths among my contemporaries. Okay? Now that doesn't happen so much when you're young. you feel like you and everybody else around you is just going to live forever and have lots of time. You know, as you age, you begin to, you know, see the people, your contemporaries, die. Living here at the Abbey and getting so many requests to pray for people who die, we see that the Lamrim is spot on when it says it doesn't matter how old you are. Yeah, I mean, we get just in the last month, you know, several requests. You know, somebody who's 17 yesterday, somebody who's 25, somebody who's 15, you know, it doesn't matter, okay? But he says, my generation is on the way out, and each death I have felt as an abruption, a tearing away of part of myself. There will be no one like us when we are gone, but there is no one like anyone else ever. Okay? When people die, they cannot be replaced. They leave holes that cannot be filled, for it is the fate of every human being to be a unique individual, to find his own path, to live his own life, and to die his own death. So I think that part about finding your own path, being, you know, unique, we all are unique. Yeah, having to live our own life, die our own death. Nobody can do any of these things for us, take away any of the pain for us. These are things that we have to figure out for ourselves. We have the fortune of having the Buddha's teachings to help us do that. You know, now the thing about that people leave holes that can never be filled, you know, in one way that's true because everybody is a unique individual. In another way, who wants to dwell on that? Yeah, what good does it do to dwell on, you know, there was somebody very important in my life who now isn't there? Yeah, because that, you know, most people do it, but that's like I'm missing something in my life, and I think that's where we need to pay attention to the person who died and send them on with love and prayers and good wishes for their future life, and focus more on what's happening to the dead, the deceased, than who's you know, navigating the bardo and the new life, than to focus on my loss. Yeah? Because, hey, you know, we're going to have one loss after the other in life, aren't we? And if each loss leaves a hole in us, pretty soon we're going to be a big hole. Yeah? And nothing more than that. Yeah? I cannot pretend I am without fear, but my predominant feeling is one of gratitude. I have loved and been loved. I have given much, and I have given, I have been given much, and I have given something in return. I have read and traveled and thought and written. I have had an intercourse with the world, the special intercourse of writers and readers. Have you purified your karma, your negative karma? Have you progressed along the path? Huh? Have you put good seeds in your mind stream that will enable you to have a good rebirth next time? And then have a series of good rebirths so that we can attain liberation and awakening. Above all, I have been a sentient being, a thinking animal on this beautiful planet, and that in itself has been an enormous privilege and adventure. And that's true. One hand, being very fortunate to have this precious human life, you know, with so much good opportunity. In another way, being unfortunate because we're still taking rebirth. Yeah? So you can look at it either way, can't you? Yeah? But when you're dying to say, I've had that good fortune and, would like good fortune in future lives to have a series of good rebirths, but I really want to get off of this wheel and I want to take everybody else with me. Yeah. But I thought that was quite interesting. He didn't say anything about spirituality in there. I have no idea what, how he sees himself as a scientist regarding this. Yeah. Anybody have comments or want to make on what he said? So, and that's why I read it. It is like, so that we don't have to wait until we're actively dying. We already have a terminal diagnosis. Yeah? As soon as we're born, we have a terminal diagnosis. So then the thing is, how are we going to live our life? Yeah? Knowing that our life is not going to last forever. Yeah? And especially knowing the unique conditions that we have available in this particular life. Yeah? Then, like you said, rather than wait until we're face to face with death to start thinking about this, to keep it in mind now and make good choices in our lives now. Yeah. And that means really reducing our attachment to the happiness of only this life. Yeah, really reducing that. Because attachment to the happiness of only this life, it obscures us from seeing reality. Yeah, it keeps us distracted, running around, doing so many things to try and get happiness, immediate happiness, and in the process creating all sorts of negativity. And then when you look, it's the attachment to the happiness of only this life that gets us all so involved in all the quarrels and unhappiness and bickering and disagreements and hurt feelings and rejection feelings and all of that stuff that we spend an enormous amount of time processing, if we're lucky enough to process it and not just sink into it. Yeah? Because, when we're attached to the happiness of this life, then everything about me, I, my, and mine becomes incredibly important. And I have to get everything that makes me comfortable and everything I want. And I get so bummed out when, people ignore me and they don't appreciate me and they don't do things my way, and when they criticize me, and on and on and on. And I mean, if you think how much time and energy we spend, just being unhappy about these piddly things going on in our life that we blow up to enormous proportions and take so seriously. Yeah? And how we just, here's this precious human life, and we spend it on stupid agios, that not only wastes our time, but creates the causes for negative, for unfortunate rebirths in the future. Yeah? And this is all fed by attachment to the happiness of only this life. Yeah. So Buddha didn't say be unhappy in this life. He's certainly not saying that, But the attachment to only the happiness of this life, just puts us digs us straight down into the lower realms and makes us tremendously unhappy in this life as well. Wouldn't you say that? Spend some time looking about what you get unhappy about. Yeah? And does everybody, I mean, what do we get unhappy about? Yeah, so-and-so didn't do this, so-and-so did that. I didn't do this, I can't do that, I'm no good. How come it was raining before, I want it to be sunny, now it's sunny and it's still too hot? Yeah. So if you're wise, you know, then when you know you're dying, like he said, there's no time for anything that is not essential. And all this stuff you see is not essential. Yeah? If people are not wise and they continue with the patterns of this life, then their last days and months are still spent in complaining and longing and everything else. Yeah? So, you know, our friend who's in palliative care, you know, she can see that, you know, from her side that there's no time for anything inessential. And then from the people that she's working with, what they see, probably a variety. So the people who inspire her, the people who set their priorities well.
And if we could only have that mind now.
Yes, and that's what she said. We need to have that mind now. Okay, this is good. That, you know, that sometimes when we hear about precious human life, then we say, okay, you know, I've just got to sit and meditate all the time and study all the time. And, oh, the chore sheet drives me crazy. It's making me waste my time when I could be practicing Dharma. And then, like you said, then you're, you know, cleaning the toilet and being so resentful and so angry, you know, and so competitive. Oh, I have to clean it more times than so-and-so. You know, how come they put me on the rota more often than somebody else? And how that way of thinking is just, I mean, that isn't understanding what Dharma practice is, and it wastes a lot of time. Yeah, because, you know, if you can clean the toilet with a happy mind, yeah, and make your mind happy when you're cleaning the toilet, yeah, then that becomes Dharma practice, doesn't it? Yeah. Whereas when you're sitting cross-legged, rehearsing all the nasty things you want to say to all the people who hurt your feelings, on the outside it looks like you're meditating. On the inside, you're far from it. Yeah.